The quiet coup. How Texas Instruments is putting AI in everything that has a battery. A speculative reading of TI's Increasing Intelligence at the Edge white paper. Texas Instruments just published a white paper that reads like a love letter to efficiency, scalability, and democratized AI. And buried between the block diagrams and the carefully worded disclaimers is a vision of the future that should make you slightly uncomfortable. Not because it's dystopian, but because it's boring. The revolution, it turns out, won't be televised. It'll be embedded. The thesis nobody's shouting about. TI's core argument is deceptively simple. AI doesn't need the cloud anymore. It doesn't need a data center. It doesn't even need Wi-Fi. It can live in a $3 microcontroller inside your washing machine, your car's braking system, the solar inverter on your roof, and the factory robot that might one day build your washing machine. The C7 NPU and Tiny Engine NPU are the delivery mechanisms, purpose-built silicon that can run neural networks at 90 times lower latency and 20 times lower energy than a CPU alone. Read that again. 120 times less energy per inference. That's not an incremental improvement. That's the difference between needs a server farm and runs on a coin cell for a year. The scalability trap, that's actually clever. Here's where it gets interesting from a business perspective. TI isn't just selling chips. They're selling lock-in through convenience. Their white paper emphasizes scalable portfolios, where software written for a high-end processor ports seamlessly to a low-end one. A home robot with 3 cameras shares code with its cheaper single-camera sibling. R&D investment transfers across product generations. This is the semiconductor equivalent of the razor and blade model, except the razor is free and the blade is your entire product development lifecycle. Once you've built on TI's toolchain, their CC Studio Edge AI Studio, their GUI-based model composer, their remote hardware evaluation, switching to a competitor means starting from scratch. The white paper frames this as minimizing resources needed. It is. It also minimizes your freedom. Physical AI, the part they're whispering about. The paper introduces a term that deserves more attention. Physical AI, systems that sense, interpret, and respond with real-world actions. A robot moving a box, a vehicle applying brakes, a motor predicting its own failure and adjusting before it happens. This is where edge AI stops being a buzzword and starts being agency. When inference happens locally, in real time, on a device that can physically act on the world, you've crossed a threshold. The device isn't just smart, it's autonomous within its domain. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't wait for a server round trip. It decides and acts in milliseconds based on patterns it learned from data. TI is careful to frame this in the language of safety and efficiency. And those are real benefits. But the same architecture that lets a car brake faster also lets a drone navigate without a controller, a factory robot adapt without a programmer, and a medical device make decisions without a doctor in the loop. The democratization paradox. The white paper celebrates how edge AI tools are becoming more user-friendly and accessible to designers of any experience level. GUI-based tools. No-code model composers. Remote hardware evaluation without physical boards. This is genuinely good for innovation. It's also genuinely dangerous. When the barrier to deploying a neural network drops to drag and drop, you get a world where anyone can embed intelligence into physical systems, including people who don't understand what the model is actually doing, what data it was trained on, or what failure modes look like. We spent years worrying about cloud AI being concentrated in the hands of a few tech giants. TI's vision distributes AI into everything, which means distributing the potential for harm, bias, and unpredictable behavior into every device you interact with. Your dishwasher will have opinions. Your car's motor will have intuitions. Your wearable health monitor will make judgments about your body. And none of them will be able to explain why. The real endgame, what TI is building, whether they frame it this way or not, is the nervous system for a world of autonomous physical objects. Not AGI, not sentient robots. Something more mundane and more profound. A planet full of things that can sense, decide, and act. Locally, instantly, without asking anyone's permission. The cloud was the brain. Edge AI is the spinal reflex. And reflexes, by definition, don't think before they act. The question isn't whether this future is coming. TI's white paper makes clear it's already here, shipping in volume, at price points that make it irresistible. The question is whether we'll notice the moment when the world around us becomes genuinely intelligent, not because it's conscious, but because it no longer needs us to be in the loop. That's the fun part. The boring part is that TI's stock is probably a buy.